Jesus loves me. We talked all about this in our devotion yesterday, and now we're going to learn to play it. So, what I've done is color coordinated all of the music for you so that if you still aren't comfortable with the notes and rhythms, that's totally fine. You've got the colors to match to the xylophone to play, so you can still work on the melody with us. So, what I want you to notice is that we have patterns in music, and patterns are a way of helping us learn something quicker. So, whether it's singing or playing handbells or playing the organ, identifying these patterns, noticing where they exist in the music will help you learn something quicker. You can isolate a small little chunk of music, learn it really well, and you'll realize, hey, I do that again in a few other places. So what I'm going to show you now is how to figure those patterns out so that as you go forward, it makes learning easier, not only in this piece, but in any other piece you want to pick up. So let's dive in. So we kind of have a cheat sheet, older kids, with this because I've color-coded things. But you're welcome to look at the copy of this that does not have the color coding if you want to challenge yourselves a little more. But for now, let's look at this. So we've got all of these instances where we have patterns that we play in this piece. So what happens is certain things happen multiple times. I mean, just go through and look at the number of times you see a certain set of color patterns. Now, what I want you to do is take a pencil or something and see if you can identify these. Now, don't cheat because on the next page it already shows you some, but see if you can spot those, and we'll talk about that in a second. To notice these two things are identical for how we would play them. Same thing here. These two sections are the same. And even these, which are actually ends of these. So by doing that, we've given ourselves the opportunity to say, hey, I do that again, and when I get there, I've already learned it. So go to your next page in your book, and I'll be with you on screen playing, but here are your rehearsal bites, your smaller chunks, so that you can learn this stuff easier. Okay? Let's dig into this. That we've just identified. What that does for us is it gives us the opportunity to break the entire song up into smaller sections. When we do that, it makes learning the overall fuller song much easier because A, we have identified those similar places, and B, we're breaking it into sections that are small enough for us to focus on for our accuracy. Not just our rhythmic accuracy, but now that we're playing, we have to be accurate with hitting the right notes. So you've got blue, yellow, blue for your first rehearsal bite on that page. So let's try that. Now, keep in mind, my mallets went to the lower end of our xylophone. We have G, E here, blue, yellow. However, we're going to need to go up here for the rest of the piece. So we need to stay down here. And in fact, the notes that we've learned on the staff are in this region. So let's stay down here and try it out. That's it. That's all we have to do. See how easy it is to break this into smaller sections? Let's try that one more time. And if you need to slow down, that's fine. Perhaps maybe like 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's that easy. Same thing with the next section. Next section, we just have purple, red, or A, C. That's it. It's just those two notes. Now, rather than going on, let's see if we can just put those few rehearsal bites together. Does that sound familiar? It should, because that is straight out of the music. But see, we've broken it into these smaller sections, and it gives us the opportunity to work on our accuracy with our mallets and technique, and our note reading and rhythm reading. So let's try that again before we go on. It's that simple. Let's look next at the third piece on your page. So you've got blue, yellow, red, yellow, orange. Or, older kids, that's G, E, C, E, D. Try that. What kind of notes are there? Well, we've got a half note, quarter, 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 and then what? We've got a special one. Well, it's a dotted half note. Does anybody remember what the dot does to those notes? It adds half the value of the note that it is dotting. So on a half note, what is half of a half note? 1 beat. So we add the 2 beats of the half note, and the dot adds 1 more beat. So now it's 3 beats for that 1 note. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how we count that. Let's back up and add all of those pieces together. If you remember, we used to do this when we would sing so that we could keep adding on everything that we've done. So now let's try it. See how that goes? Now let's do the last section. You have A, G, C, E, D, C. Now, we've got some jumping around there. See that hesitation? We have to cover these 2 notes. What does that part of the song remind you of? Think of the words. Sometimes if we sing things in our heads, it gives us better context for where we're going so that you don't hesitate in the middle of playing. Let's try that again. I sang it in my head that time. See how much smoother that was? The Bible tells me so. Now, I just spoke it that time rather than singing, but you get the point. Now, if we take all of that, we don't want to stick it together quite yet. Go to the next page, and indeed, you will see all of these smaller sections that we've just learned in the right order, and you'll have the whole song. Let's see. Well, not the whole song. The whole second part of the song, we call that the refrain or the chorus sometimes. Now that you kind of have an idea of how these rehearsal bites work for us in breaking up the song so that we can learn it easier, let's start the rehearsal bites for the beginning of the piece, the first part, sometimes what we call the verse. And in this, I've given you at the bottom of the page a little bit larger rehearsal bite with that first line, but I think you'll get the hang of it pretty easily. So let's try to tackle this. We're still down in the lower portion of the instrument, and here we go. How'd you do? Did you hang in there with me? I hope it went well. If it didn't, again, just slow down whatever spot gave you problems, work on it, and speed it back up. That'll be super helpful for tomorrow. So that's your homework today and tonight, is just to really get this comfortable so that we can work with accompaniment tomorrow. Have a good evening, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow.